Deep breath, man. Welcome, everybody, to Rad Pod and Chill. I'm Heidi Kuda. I'm here with Jim Stewartson. High Fidelity. I am emo because I just finished watching our episode 85 with Dmitry Kovigan, who worked on multiple Navalny campaigns. And it was a really beautiful interview. And I'm very grateful to him for sharing his truth with us. And yeah.
To be fair, you're always emo.
I know. I'm kind of like randomly stuck in the 90s. You know what I mean? It's always an emo day. But also, I've been up since 1 a.m. threading an investigation about Mike Johnson and his connection to a Russian munitions dealer, and it led me to all kinds of interesting revelations. So I'm emotional.
That was badass, Heidi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just getting started. So anyway, we do have some breaking news though, because I saw on your tweeters, Jim, there was a Pez dispenser. I feel like it's a Seinfeld episode where I can't stop giggling about a Pez dispenser, but a Spider-Man Pez dispenser made an appearance. Oh my God.
I think I'm hoping Hi-Fi's looking for it right now.
I'm looking for it. Like, what the hell are these people talking about?
I thought Pez dispenser, and then this Spidey just did it. Anyway, so what are we doing? Guide us.
So I sent you.
Oh my dear God! Are you serious? This is terrible. I just well done. I guess it's wow.
Yeah, it was the eyes, man. The eyes just Anyway, that's enough of that.
Enough of that. All right, moving on.
She got them crazy eyes, though, for sure.
My most important tweet.
Actually, that looks like she's getting ready for date night. And thinking about date night, I was a little appalled at something one of our friends caught, and well, it's James O'Keefe talking about catfishing people, setting them up on dating. Yeah, well, let's just watch the video.
This is what you're going to do to impress us, to set us up. You're going to be a soldier. We're giving you the resources. You're the initiative. We give you the resources. You set up a dating profile. You set up an alias. You use unpublished photos, and you get into that. Email us, and I'll tell you the email. We'll post it as well.
So they set up a profile on one of these websites. Like, what are the different profile? What are the different apps out there?
3 apps that we use that have been very effective. And also, I will say this, James has done this himself. So the 3 apps we use is Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. James has done this himself with the White House.
Because people say, oh, I can't do this because this is the worst excuse. I'm recognizable in my community. Well, if James O'Keefe can meet with a cybersecurity official in the White House, what's your excuse?
Yes.
You know what the truth is? You don't have one. You don't have an excuse. Well, I have a family. Good for you. I hope your children aren't in World War III or World War IV. I'm not sure there is going to be a country if you do nothing.
It's enough. My God. Okay, so Jim, why don't you give us the background on that, since Hi-Fi started us off with that real triggering shit.
Yeah, thanks, man. You gotta give us some fucking warning, bro. Just because.
Nope, we're diving right in tonight, kids.
All right,
going straight forward.
Show doesn't mean you get to like, man. All right. So James O'Keefe,
I got the buttons.
If people are not aware, is one of the most sadistic sociopaths who ever pretended to have anything to do with journalism or anything like that. He was a troll and a guy who enjoyed fucking with people. And Peter Thiel, and this is important, gave him $30,000 in 2009, long time ago, to go after Acorn. which was about civil rights voting for voting. And he managed to bring Acorn down and cause a whole bunch of shit. And then Peter Thiel introduced him to Eric Prince. And they started Project Veritas. So people, I'm sure, have seen all the Project Veritas videos of, oh, we got a sting on this Pfizer guy, said something weird on a date while he was drunk or whatever, right? You've seen all of those. All of that shit, Peter Thiel, Eric Prince, funding and training this guy to do exactly what he's talking about right there. They're just admitting it now, right? At scale, they did this. They created honeypots. They created fake accounts on everywhere. On Twitter, there's a bunch of them still running around that were formed in that era and still pretend to be things that they're not. That's what they do, is they infiltrate, and then they explode things from the inside out. I have personally been the victim of people of the same group of terrorists. I don't know if any of them are actually Project Veritas or not, but they come from the same training, the same group, the same ideology, which is that we are digital soldiers. Nothing that we do matters. The fact that we are just tormenting strangers for power and money doesn't faze us. It is a entire lifestyle that these guys are now just advertising. They're like, oh, you want to be a rat fucker? Great. All you got to do is set up an account and we'll get you started. The part that wasn't in there was, if you give us a video and it gets 1 million views on X, you get $5,000. So they're literally like, oh, you want to extort somebody? You want to make some money from rat fucking somebody, making them miserable and lying about them? Well, here's a chance. And he was just saying it out loud to an entire room of cult members. By the way, that room was full of QAnon. That was QAnon and Pizzagate and like the people who were way out. So they'll fucking do it. They will do it. And a lot of people will get hurt.
So just to be clear, these are destroyers of lives. And one of the things that Project Veritas so deftly did was infiltrate congressional campaigns. I worked on a congressional campaign in 2018. I was hurt badly, personally, real life and offline, by a 1.0 version of what they're describing. And they hurt real people. And what they do
it wasn't 1.0, Heidi. That was 2018. Project Veritas was in full effect. And this is important in your case, you were up against Dana fucking Rohrabacher.
Mm-hmm.
Dana Rohrabacher is Eric Prince's mentor.
Mm-hmm.
They are very close, close still to this day. That is a relationship that got Eric Prince started. His family got him an internship at Dana Rohrabacher's office in 1991. He met a guy named Paul Behrens, who was one of the most infamous rat fuckers, Kremlin, Christo-fascist rat fuckers ever, who was a Knight of Malta, and convinced Eric Prince to convert to Catholicism in 1992 so he could become a Knight of Malta and join this Christo-fascist network of people who were trying to take down global democracy. This is 30 fucking years ago. So the fact that Eric Prince and Dana Rohrabacher are old chums, ID got absolutely smashed for
got annihilated.
Trying to advocate for a Democratic candidate. That should tell you everything you need to know. And if you've been following us or me or any of it, you see what this shit does. And for you assholes listening right now on the line, this is where you come from. You guys are just gross, and you should be ashamed. Just be ashamed.
Well, the reason I mentioned
they need that $500, Jim.
Well, the reason I mentioned 1.0 is that I wasn't on any dating apps. My literally was infiltration, old school style, and what they did isn't legal, and it takes a minute when you've gone through it to actually see it. But it's like, we're keeping lots of receipts, and yeah. They hurt people for money and perhaps ideology. And one of the things I've been thinking a lot about, and we didn't have time to put together clips from our interview with Dmitry Kovigan, but we do have some with Michael Weiss, which we weren't able to show last time. But he talked about how we're at this nihilistic moment in history where people don't have to hide the worst of themselves anymore. And it's literally our duty to stare that in the face and just demand that is not so, and shame people who think that is in any way okay, because it's simply not. There's too much at stake. There's too much on the line. And as we've said previously, we could use about another 100,000 people doing this work with us. So, yeah.
Well, to make things perfectly clear, we talked about last live stream 6 different examples of private companies they were hired to mess with people, right? They were hired to mess with people's heads, mess with people's lives, harass women seeking reproductive care. This is no different. It's the same thing over and over and over and over.
Another
legislation, regulation, something.
Another word for it is astroturfing, right? When they do it in public,
Yeah.
Is how some people think of it. It's manufactured opinion. A bunch of people show up somewhere and, oh, I love everything you say, except why are you retweeting this guy? Right? It is old school social engineering.
There's that song, Stasi style.
Unfortunately, it still works despite the fact that, But the good news, I think, all around, and this has been a theme of mine recently, and it just keeps going, is that this thing is no longer really being clandestine about anything. They're not hiding a goddamn thing, right? I mean, just to be clear, and this is just, it re-infuriates me every fucking day when I see that Ukrainian soldiers, actual soldiers, some people we've had on our fucking show, are having to count bullets, to count artillery, because some fucking theocratic chowderhead in Congress just is so compromised that despite the fact that he knows what he's doing is wrong, because he said it out loud, he's just going to go along with it. They don't give a shit about the border. They're like, oh yeah, you gave us all this shit we want. Now, fuck off, right?
Yeah.
Because, and only because, the Ukraine aid was attached to it. It really needs to sink in to people's heads that no shit, we are actually at war with the Russian government. And our government needs to fucking say it. There are people dying in Ukraine. There are people dying in the United States because they're not dealing with it. People who are falling down Russian rabbit holes all fucking day long. Our friends and family just get picked off one by one by these fucking assholes. And it's time to recognize what's now right in front of everyone's nose. You don't have to trust Blue Anon over here or whatever. Just go and look, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving into overt operational mode, and I need the government to recognize it. It's not a game anymore. They're not playing any games anymore. It's not, sort of gray propaganda. They're just like, fuck yeah, Putin, let's go.
But what about Smirnoff? I mean, the fact that the guy has been arrested, he had contact with Russian intelligence.
Here's the thing.
He got arrested a second time again.
Here's the thing about that, and this is very, very important and something that is really, really getting to me. The only reason why we found out about that guy is because he lied to Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Because he lied to Democrats in Congress who were like, you're impeaching our president for what? And they demanded answers. They demanded an investigation when they found some shit that was squirrely. And Bob's your uncle, something happened, right? Only because they had the power, the pressure to embarrass the FBI and the Department of Justice into doing something about this fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
They could do that same thing. Just arrest the dude for collaborating with the Russian government. You could do that. They just showed us you could do that. The only reason that particular guy got caught is because some people in Congress were screeching about it, and they wanted to keep it going. In the meantime, we've got hundreds of them out there doing worse. They're just not lying about it to Congress. Sorry, I just...
No, it's super important. And I just want to report that message, instead of that message getting to the people, all the people who've been on Hunter Biden watch, who should now know that it, has always been what we knew to be, just garbage. They're now crying about Biden giving young people relief on their college bills. So you can see that the messaging is always queued up, and I had to walk somebody through what actually happened, and they've got that cognitive dissonance where they can't quite hear it. But I'm a big believer in going back to 2016, as you know, Jim and Hi-Fi, and 2018. And it's so important that this American ethane company that gave people like Lindsey Graham and Mike Johnson cash, one of the Russian majority owners is making sure that the Russians do not run out of ammunition, because he has a company that produces it and he supplies massive amounts of it. So that's the message I would like to get across to people and to viewers, that this evil Keebler that is holding this up and doing it so cynically actually is affiliated with people going back. And what's so interesting about this company, there's so many things, and I can't get into it now, and I'm still processing all of it. But they had all these contracts to do so much stuff because they had lobbyists. They had Trump lobbyists and, the Barbara Griff, the lobbyists who've been rat fucking for, since the early 2000s, working for the Russian mob. But what's interesting is in the FEC investigation on this particular company, they don't do anything. They get contracts, but they don't do anything. The only thing that they do is hand out money to politicians. And in Mike Johnson's defense, he returned the money, but what's the quid pro quo? Because it's really not fucking about that, is it? And finding out that Robert Mercer financed his PAC in 2016, and that there was Cambridge Analytica chicanery going on, it's like, I am just getting started on this fucker. And you want to know something else? I don't want to do it. People with resources should be doing this work. I'm literally just up at 1 a.m. pulling threads, but I'm going to do it because he's hurting people I love.
Heidi calls me up at work and she's like, hey, pull me the FEC records for this pack, and I pull it up. I'm like, oh hey, Robert Mercer, here you go, 600 grand.
Thanks, Hi-Fi.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
How is this network
Rob,
not obvious to everyone at this point in time?
Yeah, it literally just keeps. It always goes to the same people. I mean, I have a little chart with 13 of them on there. You know, I think it's a solid top 13, but like all top 10s or whatever you can. But Robert Mercer is up there. Robert Mercer is in my top fascists on planet Earth. That motherfucker has financed like some of, including Peter Thiel, by the way. Peter.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Perfection.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Smooth.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Robert Mercer launders billions and billions of dollars through his hedge funds for Vladimir Putin, and he, in exchange, does Russian propaganda. So Breitbart, Parler, financing Peter Thiel, who then finances all of these, J.D. Vances and whatnot and shit in the world. That is the money flow. And if people recall, his fat shittiness, Steve Bannon ran Breitbart with Mercer money, and that dude is guilty of things and still is in prison 2 years later. And again, I want to draw a contrast between Steve fucking Bannon, who has been destroying lives for 10 fucking years, and this guy Smirnoff, right? Smirnoff, he's arrested, he's in prison, he's indicted immediately. What the fuck are we doing with these people? The real killers, right? The ones who are actually doing this. Instead, we are still fucking around with Adderall, Don, and all the Proud Boys, and ignoring the third, I keep emphasizing this, third coup attempt in a row that is currently being executed. It is mind blowing, and and I'm landing my plane. All that I can think, and it is that there is significant corruption in our law enforcement and justice system. I am sorry. People get mad at me. Oh, you can't say bad things about Merrick Garland. He's on our team. No. Nobody who lets this go on for 3 fucking years and can't get a single person above Oathkeeper and Proud Boy in prison. Not one. Sidney Powell got probation. For fuck's sake.
I'm sorry to laugh. It's absurd.
It's fucking embarrassing.
Maybe Peter Navarro's going to go away for a couple months. Maybe. That dude, if you remember, is the guy that Trump was tweeting when he tweeted about the wild protests for the first time. That's because Peter Navarro is a goddamn criminal. It has been for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
You mentioned Steve Bannon, and Steve Bannon was at CPAC today, and he was with Jack Posobiec.
No way.
Yeah, and Jack Posobiec, he's the Pizzagate guy,
and a Nazi, a literal Nazi.
Yeah, he's a 1488 quoting Nazi. He's a propagandist. But I think more people. I got some underground video. So this was
Oh,
Jack
no.
Posobiec.
Oh,
This was
no.
Jack Posobiec at CPAC today.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
Welcome to the end of democracy. Welcome to the end of democracy.
Welcome to the end of democracy.
We're here to overthrow it completely. We're here to overthrow it completely.
And replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here. Amen. 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 Amen.
Oh, my hi-fi. I'm really glad you're on our team, man. I'm really glad you're on our team. I really am. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but think about that clip. I mean, like, dude, again, no quiet parts remaining.
Yeah.
Jack Posobiec, this is important. What claims? I can't confirm it, but claims to have interrogated detainees at Gitmo for Mike fucking Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Posobiec was a founder of MAGA 3X, which ran all the psyops on Hillary Clinton in 2016, and to Heidi's point, was the main proponent of Pizzagate, who went to the fucking pizza parlor before the guy shot it up because he thought Hillary was hiding kids in the basement. Because why? Because Jack fucking Posobiec told her that. And how did he know how to do that? His training in the military and his training by Mike Flynn on how to use tactics that he used fighting ISIS, and from the Russian intelligence services that he met multiple times. That's how he fucking learned all this shit in the field. And Jack Posobiec is just one of his little digital soldiers. Has been for a long time. Not a goddamn Christian bone in his body. Doesn't believe a fucking thing he's saying. Christianity, in his case Catholicism, are being used as carrier waves for QAnon, fascist, neo-Nazi ideology, and people need to get that is the LARP this year. It was Big Lie was 2020. This year is Jesus. So all you Christians out there, really, really important. Protect your people, protect yourself from this, because there is no greater desecration. And I am not religious. I am atheist, as I've been very clear about, but I've grown to respect religions quite a bit, just learning their history. I have half my family are Christian. This has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with Christianity. There's not a godly, faithful bone in any of these people's fucking bodies.
Including Putin's.
Right.
Their great white hope.
Exactly. There's in a few weeks, there's a Catholic prayer meeting going on at Mar-a-Lago. Guess who the four guests of honor are? Mike Flynn, Archangel Mike, Nazi Jack Posobiec, Tim Ballard, the producer of Sound of Freedom, who
got kicked out of the Mormon church.
Kicked out of the Mormon church, is at a Catholic prayer event. Okay, that's fine. Except for the part where he defrauded people out of tens of millions of dollars, claiming to be going on child rescue missions Where instead what he was doing was psyoping women into having sex with him under the guise of going on missions to rescue kids. Didn't rescue a fucking child the entire time. Instead, just watched a lot of child porn, according to himself, for research and to make sure he knew where all the bad guys are. And then the last guy is Jim fucking Caviezel.
Oh, poor guy.
The actor who played Tim Ballard in the fraudulent grift movie Sound of Freedom, who is so deeply fucked in his brain, is really hard to listen to.
Sad. Yeah.
He is a very, and last thing. On the other hand, Jim Caviezel made $110,000 from one appearance at the Michigan GOP convention this year. So that will tell you a little bit about why people get involved with this shit, because they get brain fucked by it, and also they make money. They do fine.
Yeah. High five.
Very, very bad.
So it's not just a grift movie; it is also traumatic dissociation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Well,
right. But I would also like to bring up the fact. I would also like to bring up the fact that the Michigan GOP is currently broke as hell, and there are two separate chairmen of the GOP who are currently fighting, right?
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of electors who are on trial, fake electors in Michigan who are on trial. So they're not doing well.
The only reason we know about this is because of their little squabbling inside. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known that bankrupt, literally the bankrupt Michigan GOP, instead of paying its bills, paid QAnon knucklehead Jim Caviezel $110,000 to speak for 30 minutes or whatever at their little thing. It's
so this is the part where
how many people tie their fucking shoes though, right?
This is the part where Jim will laugh at me, because as you were mentioning the group that was gathering at Mar-a-Lago, that bastion of Christianity, I was thinking, Jim, about Kirgile's soundbite about what unites the most ardent Russian propagandists. I think that there's evidence that these guys have, well, certainly the host of the Mar-a-Lago event, sexual assaulter. We can say that. He has to pay a lot of money for being a sexual assaulter. Anyway, it's a creepy bunch.
Donald Trump?
Yeah, I was trying to.
Oh, I mean, who else is up there? The guy who invented Pizzagate, which has spread more child abuse material around the world than anything. Look, you want to find a giant collection of people who are really interested for some reason in child abuse material.
Oh my God!
Go find some Pizzagate people, because they love it. Now, I'm not saying everybody who's interested in Pizzagate is a pedo, but I am saying there is the Venn diagram
of convicted sexual assaulters.
There is overlap.
So, on a equally grotesque topic, we were talking about the factions within law enforcement, our intelligence agencies. We were talking about factions, right? And in my latest 2016 election attack, where I focus on convicted felon Roger Stone, I realized, and it was really after talking to Michael Weiss and thinking about how historically people get prosecuted for lying to the FBI, lying to Congress, serious offenses. But I realized that what Stone and these guys I write about are central characters in the greatest crime in American history. And if that is so, then that means it's also the greatest intelligence failure in American history. I put that together based on what we learned from Craig Unger, what we learned looking at what happened with Charles McGonigal, what we learned from Michael Weiss, and I do hope we have some Michael Weiss clips. And I don't see how you cannot view it that way.
Or you could view it as one of the greatest intelligence successes. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because look, the people who covered this shit up were intelligence people, are intelligence people, right? You have Charles McGonigal, who was Charles. I have to say this one more time.
Go for it.
Was in charge of all counterintelligence for the entire FBI, not just New York, but he was at the New York FBI, which is where all the Hillary Clinton shit came out of, right? It was an FBI source that told the New York Times there was no clear link to Russia, right? Which helped tamp down the apoplectic, understandable outrage from people like me who were like, "What the fuck is going on right now?" And that dude got 28 fucking months for for lying to the FBI. Now that is a cover up. It's a fucking cover up. I'm sorry. That motherfucker does not need to be in prison. He needs to be in an interrogation room, and then he needs to be in a grand jury over and over and over again, explaining exactly what the fuck happened to our democracy. Because that guy knows. And for some reason, Chris Wray and DOJ, feckless bureaucrats want to just put him away for a couple of years while we have this election right over here.
Yeah.
So they can get away with it the third fucking time.
Yeah.
The same people.
Yeah. So you know who also made appearances in my Mike Johnson Russia thread? We had Roman Abramovich, we had Oleg Deripaska. That should not surprise either of you. I'm still digging around for a Malafiev, and I'm going to get him. He's gonna show up.
By now, I'm more surprised if there aren't Russian oligarchs in the background, right? Or at least American oligarchs like a Robert Mercer, or
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Well done. High Fidelity.
That's all right.
It wasn't. The first one was better.
10
hey, can we talk about something that I personally think is I feel bad for the people who are losing their employment, but I think it's good that the entity itself,
Saudi Proud Boy shit show.
Let's just talk about this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vice is okay. I feel bad for the people there, some of the people there who are losing their employment. But at the same time, I think Vice is a vehicle for bad things happening. And I would just like to remind people, once again, they led to the death of John McAfee. And they led to the death of this fellow in Portland. Shortly after his interview with Vice, the federal marshals pulled up. And
the good news is that there seems to be employment for people who don't mind stalking people on the internet. So maybe some of the people who were doing it as so-called journalists will just make the nice transition. So
yeah,
I'm serious. Serious.
All I know is that the amount of cope in the stalker community, because maybe my hip pieces are going away, is incredible, and I love it. Keep please cope and cry more that your propaganda is going away.
let's just, I want to, as Vice is coming to a close, let's just wander down memory lane. Gavin McInnes, one of the founders of Vice
Oh, you
Media.
mean the Proud Boy founder? You mean the
the founder of the Proud Boys.
communist pro-rape piece of fucking shit that started the Proud Boys? That motherfucker? Yeah.
And then
not everybody at Vice and not all the work at Vice was garbage and compromised, but it did not start at a good place. It did not start with good people. It started with sociopaths, and you know, it made for good entertainment from time to time, but that is not, Vice News was not news. I'm sorry to tell you this. That was a shit show.
So speaking of shit shows,
hold on a second. I'm not done with Vice yet, because a lot of people don't know this, but Heidi was there when I found out that Shane Smith's compound, Palisades Record, right? It was sold to a shell company that shares an address with the Thompson Family Art Museum. Philanthropy. The Thompson Reuters. This was shortly after Reuters did a deal with TOS.
But nothing to see here. Everything's fine.
Everything's legit, though.
I want to talk about Jim's favorite TV personality, Catherine Herridge of CBS. I totally got a laugh out of you. I got a snort and a laugh.
It brings happiness and tears to my eyes to know that highlighter Karen has been fired and had all her shit taken by the feds, which that's not usually how that goes down. Highlighter Karen, what happened? So so listen, for those of us who've been paying any attention to the media of late, Catherine Herridge has been the most obvious Kremlin plant in the media forever. She was one of the people who pushed Pizzagate, who set all that shit up with WikiLeaks and all the rest of it. In 2015, she started. 2016, she was OG, tied into the whole fucking thing from the get. And then she went over to the feckless assholes at CBS who decided to let her just highlight Hunter Biden's indictments over and over and over again and tell us about how the Durham was going to get him this time and over. Like, all she ever did, and all she ever will do is promote the Kremlin's talking points. Period. End of story. I could not be happier that she's getting fired and embarrassed because she is a discredit to her profession and to the country that she pretends to call her home.
Thank you. I wonder if the members of Congress who were so astutely on Hunter Biden watch and getting their information from a now arrested Double arrest.
Arrested twice. So, they let him go, and then the feds were like, "Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're going to. You let him go, so we're going to find some other shit because we need him in jail."
So I'm just curious if there's going to be any raids in congressional offices looking for any highlighted documentation, because they were Benghazing the shit out of that, So
I'm sure James Comer's files are all up and up.
I do believe Mr. Comer needs to resign.
Yeah, sure. So does Clarence Thomas. So does Mike Johnson. Like, come on, man.
Jim Jordan.
Come on, man.
It's crazy.
The 100 and however many representatives voted against the 2020 election.
147, yeah.
Josh Hawley, who raised his fist at the insurrection. Josh Hawley, of course, is a product.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
All right, that's
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yes, Jim.
Okay, so I
Jim.
wanted to. So you guys know CPAC is
Oh,
going
yeah.
on.
Yeah. I saw the fancy
So speaking
dresses.
of congressional idiots, there's the guy who runs House Homeland Security. Is a guy that most people probably have never heard of, Mark Green. Oh my God! I literally the first 30 seconds I posted it and stopped watching because it was making me fucking insane. This guy was just lying about everything. He said he said that there were Chinese terrorists who were invading our military bases with cameras, and that if we defend Taiwan, that the Chinese terrorists are going to attack the U.S. And this was the craziest part. He compared the Chinese terrorists that are in America. He said they were saboteurs, just like the little green men that Russia uses. And I was like, huh? Because little green men are not saboteurs. They're not sneaky. They're soldiers. Yeah. They were soldiers that built up on the Crimean border for months while Mike Flynn said, don't worry, pretty heads about it. It's going to be fine. Vlad's my friend. He's never going to do anything. And then Bob's your uncle. He had fucking Crimea. Because I'm serious. Because Mike Flynn stood down the goddamn Pentagon, and this asshole is saying like the Chinese are doing it. It was just the most ignorant shit I've ever heard in my life. Ahistoric, ignorant nonsense, all to benefit war criminal Vladimir Putin. And you know, if anybody's seen the lineup at CPAC, by the way, holy shit. It is indistinguishable from Mike Flynn's Reawaken tour of events at this point. It said the on the screen was for when people are filing in, where globalism goes to die. Oh, really? Because globalism is well-known euphemism for Jewish people. Has been since Hitler in various forms, right? The going back to Henry Ford, what did he call it when he put out the protocols of the Elders of Zion? The international Jew, the globalists. It's a conspiracy. It's a globalist conspiracy of Jews to take over the world. And these motherfuckers are saying, y'all gonna die. Right? You guys remember the controversy over whether they were doing Nazi shit when they put an Odal rune as the stage? Everybody's like, you're blueing on them. Stop saying they're Nazis. Well, I'm pretty sure you don't have to look for it anymore. Because you got Eric Prince and Steve Bannon, every fucking Nazi you can imagine up on that stage, spreading their anti-Semitic, Christo-fascist bullshit.
Yeah. Hi-Fi, I just emailed you something. You probably can't pull it up, but it was something that Zarina and Alex Alvarova tweeted about a gentleman at a supermarket in Australia. He was doing a riff off of Tucker Carlson at a supermarket. It was freaking hilarious. At the end, when he's done, he just, in a great Australian accent, goes, okay, so now that we've seen the yogurt section, I guess we can go bomb New Zealand. I mean, satire is good. Zarina's in a war zone right now, and she needed a laugh, and I'm glad because I got one too.
Anything that makes Zarina laugh is okay by me.
I know. It's so serious over there.
Crazy. By the way, if you guys have missed it, I don't usually do this kind of shit, but go watch our episode before last.
Yeah.
When Zarina gave everybody a free education about everything that's happening around us.
Yeah.
I could not recommend it more highly. As a person
Incredible.
who was taught how to run psychological warfare by the Russian government in college because she was required to. She knows exactly what it is and what's going on.
And she's been exposing it for a decade.
The presentation, and this is crazy, was from 2017.
Yeah.
All of it laid out. Right there.
Yeah. Right.
For you, government, and
Yeah, so important. Let's see a Weiss clip. Michael Weiss is an investigative reporter. He busts Russian spies in foreign lands and with colleagues, and his work's really important. He understands. Yeah, grab something from Michael.
With MAGA, what does MAGA want to build? They sometimes talk about, more jobs here, secure the borders, make America great again, literally the slogan. How do you want to make America great again? Everything you are advocating is some form of violent destruction. You want to destroy American institutions. You want to put people in prison because you don't like what they write about you in the newspaper. You don't want to save countries from acts of aggression, if not full-scale wars of conquest. In fact, you're going to egg on countries like Russia to invade your putative allies. It's all just tear it apart.
Tear it apart.
Yep.
They're doing a good job. You got to give it to them. They're doing a good job.
Let's see one more. See one more. If you got one more.
Sure. I forget which one I played. So
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
All right.
These Zoomer morons are reading bin Laden's letter to America from 2001 and saying, this is the most eye-opening thing I've ever seen. It does scare me a little bit because we've now entered into, I've heard it called the post-truth age. I would just call it a very kind of nihilistic moment in American history, to be sure, also probably international history, where you don't have to hide the worst of yourself. All of your venality, your vindictiveness, your murderous rage, all of the things you would try to cover up if, for instance, you were the Soviet Union. There's no famine here. Our gulags are models of re-education and rehabilitation. All of these things, you spend a great deal of energy trying to obfuscate. Now you don't do that anymore. You lean into it. Yeah, I'm a piece of shit. I want to go out and kill people with AR-15s for the lulz, because it's funny, because I own the libs by doing that. The salesmanship it's all negative. It's not. There's no positive prescription anymore.
That's it.
Jesus.
Nobody. It is a fully nihilistic, movement. There is no positive, to his point. There's no vision other than destroying what there is, right? The only vision is some, 1950s racist, postcard that doesn't exist and never did exist in the United States. That has been the sort of the white people's grievance for a very long time, and we need to get over ourselves.
Right. We interviewed the clips that you just saw were from episode 84 from a week ago. Today we just dropped episode 85 with somebody who was poisoned when he became a public facing campaign representative for Alexei Navalny. And he saw the poisoning as it was occurring in real time and was able to mitigate the worst of the damage, but he's still sick. And he wanted us to know that what we have is so precious. And if we don't fight for it, all of us in every single way we can, we do run a very real risk of losing it indefinitely. And you know, if you're not going to listen to somebody who lived and grew up in Russia, saw this, what he felt was a beacon of light in 2009 when he was introduced to Alexei Navalny, and then worked on 2 campaigns, the mayoral race in Moscow and you know, the presidential race. You know.
I do need to point out that currently they are not poisoning people here in the United States, but they are drugging them. If you remember Andrew Gillum from Florida, he was drugged.
That's something that has always just been, it just seems like something that we just can't keep glossing over these moments. You know, these very important.
That was a whole, you know, familiar people did that.
Yeah.
that was a Project Veritas style op where they set him up, you know, to be in that situation, and we're there with the camera.
And just to be clear, Ron DeSantis, who isn't liked by anybody I know in Florida,
yeah,
has
you don't
his I know that, but again, it's a minority rule type thing where, you know, people are looking around going, what is happening here? But his policies are resulting in kids committing suicide. So like none of this, you know, nothing that we do on this show and describe is a mystery, certainly to this team here, but you know, this stuff has real life ramifications. And
I would also like to point out that Ron DeSantis also engages in these online shenanigans. This is, you know, something people need to be aware of. There are these companies doing this. There are these people being paid, capitalizing on others' misery and grief and twisting their minds. And is it legal? Apparently,
no.
Can I point out one thing that Gal Squad, my dear friends, pointed out, which is that the people who were involved in the Gillum were Jacob Engels, piece of shit Roger Stone Nazi who's still running around doing this stuff, and seditious conspiracist convict Enrique Tarrio.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Gal.
So you know, it's all the same people doing the same shit over and over again, and I want to beg to differ a little bit, which is that we won't maybe lose democracy. We will, unless we do something, unless there is change, unless there is action. And it feels a little bit like something, like they're just starting to get their fingers in there, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough. You cannot pretend to be a government that is trying to protect the citizens that elected you, that pay taxes, that pay your salaries. You cannot pretend to protect us when you are letting people like Mike Flynn and Steve Bannon, Roger Stone and Eric Prince and fucking Peter Thiel, Jack Posobiec, and all of these monsters running around destroying, to Heidi's point, There is no purpose other than the end of our democracy. And I will say for the last time, not the last time probably, fascism doesn't stop. You have to defeat it. We must win, not just hope that it doesn't work, because it will. It will fucking work this time if we don't stop it. So, suit up.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
Welcome to the end of democracy. Welcome to the end of democracy.
Welcome to the end of democracy.
We're here to overthrow it completely. We're here to overthrow it completely.
And replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here. Amen.